As 2026 begins, Europe is rapidly changing its approach to immigration. Countries that once welcomed millions of migrants are now tightening borders, rewriting asylum laws, and increasing deportations at record speed. Just weeks into January 2026, removals are already rising across the continent. Today, we count down 10 European countries deporting migrants in record numbers and explain what's driving this shift and what it means for Europe's future. Number 10, Latvia. As 2026 gets underway, Latvia has firmly established itself as one of Europe's toughest countries on immigration. Despite having a population of less than 2 million people, Latvia sits on the European Union's eastern edge and shares long borders with Russia and Belarus, two countries accused of deliberately pushing migrants toward EU territory. In response, Latvian authorities entered 2026 with deportations already up by roughly 45% compared to last year, with removals now exceeding 3,000 annually. The government has invested more than 200 million euros in border defenses, including thermal cameras, motion sensors, and drone surveillance. Latvia continues to allow immediate pushbacks at the border, sending migrants back without processing asylum claims, a move criticized internationally but defended domestically as essential for national security. At the same time, stricter residency rules and mandatory language exams have already pushed tens of thousands of long-term residents to leave. Latvia's stance at the start of 2026 is unmistakable. Control the border first, deal with criticism later. Number 9, Greece. In early 2026, Greece has fully shifted from being Europe's main entry point to one of its most aggressive gatekeepers. After absorbing more than 1 million migrants over the past decade, Greek authorities say the country has reached its limit. As the new year begins, asylum approvals remain about 60% lower than in previous years, while deportations are accelerating rapidly, building on the 25,000 removals carried out last year. New detention rules allowing asylum seekers to be held for up to 3 years are now fully enforced, and the government says this is already discouraging new arrivals. Greece has expanded patrols across the Aegean Sea using drones, thermal imaging, and AI monitoring, while deportation flights are being fast-tracked to Africa and the Middle East. Cooperation with Turkey remains central to Greece's strategy, with returns continuing in exchange for financial aid. Despite criticism from rights groups, public opinion at the start of 2026 strongly supports tougher enforcement after years of pressure on local communities. Number 8, Austria. As 2026 begins, Austria has moved decisively to close its doors to illegal migration. Sitting at the heart of Europe and bordering 8 countries, Austria has long been a major transit route for migrants heading north. After processing more than 500,000 asylum applications since 2015, the government entered the new year with asylum approvals down by nearly 70%. Deportations are now a top priority, with authorities aiming to remove around 40,000 undocumented migrants during 2026. Austria is also actively backing EU plans to process asylum seekers outside Europe, sending them to North African centers instead of housing them domestically. Citizenship rules have tightened further, blocking applicants who have relied on welfare in recent years, while AI-powered surveillance towers now monitor key border routes. Austria's approach in January 2026 is built around speed, deterrence, and strict enforcement. Number 7, Denmark. Denmark has entered 2026 with one of the most restrictive immigration systems in Europe already in full operation. Known globally for its quality of life, Denmark is also, quietly redefining how asylum works on the continent. Its agreement with Rwanda to relocate asylum seekers remains central to its strategy, sending a clear message that Denmark is no longer an easy destination. As the year begins, asylum approvals remain near historic lows, with fewer than 1,000 approved in the previous year, and deportations are ramping up toward a target of 10,000 removals in 2026. Authorities are continuing to revoke residency permits from long-term residents whose home countries are deemed safer, while strict settlement rules limit where certain migrants can live and how they integrate. Although protests continue, public support remains strong, with most Danish voters backing the government's hard line. Number 6. Italy. Italy entered 2026 still under heavy migration pressure from the Mediterranean, but with a much tougher playbook than in previous years. After more than 180,000 sea arrivals last year, Italy moved forward with its offshore processing agreement with Albania, allowing up to 36,000 migrants per year to be housed outside Italian territory while their asylum claims are reviewed. Deportation targets for 2026 have been raised to at least 40,000 removals, signaling a major shift from past governments. Italian authorities continue to aggressively seize boats used by smugglers, while humanitarian rescue groups face heavy fines and legal risks for bringing migrants to Italian ports. The government argues these measures are necessary to break smuggling networks, while critics warn of humanitarian consequences. As of January 2026, Italy's strategy is firmly focused on deterrence, enforcement, and outsourcing pressure beyond its borders. Number 5. Poland. Poland has started 2026 with one of the toughest border regimes in Europe. Along its eastern frontier with Belarus, Poland maintains a 400-kilometer high-tech wall equipped with sensors, cameras, and drones. Officials say illegal crossings have dropped by roughly 80% since the wall became operational. Emergency laws now allow immediate deportation of anyone caught crossing illegally, with no asylum review and no appeal. As the year begins, mass deportation flights continue to remove thousands of migrants each month to Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. Despite repeated warnings from the European Union, domestic support is overwhelming, with more than 80% of Poles backing even stricter measures. Poland's message in early 2026 remains blunt: illegal entry will not be tolerated. Number 4. Finland. Finland entered 2026 with an immigration policy that looks, well, very different from just a few years ago. Deportations have already doubled compared to 2024 levels, actually exceeding 10,000 removals annually. Express deportation rules now allow migrants who enter illegally to be removed within 48 hours. And Finland's border with Russia? Yeah, it remains fully closed after accusations that migration was being used as a destabilization tactic. A newly built 200-kilometer fence, equipped with drones and infrared cameras, now dominates the eastern border. Authorities continue to revoke residence permits and aggressively deport criminal migrants, even for minor offenses. Despite protests, most Finnish citizens support the tougher stance, arguing that Finland's welfare system must be protected as 2026 begins. Number 3. Sweden. As 2026 starts, Sweden's transformation on immigration is, well, impossible to ignore. Once one of Europe's most open countries, Sweden is now in the middle of a large-scale crackdown driven by years of gang violence and rising insecurity. The government's campaign to deport 50,000 undocumented migrants by the end of 2026 is already underway. Social benefits for undocumented migrants remain sharply reduced, pushing many to leave voluntarily, while deportations are being fast-tracked with strict deadlines. Entire families are being removed, even when children were born in Sweden, and authorities are actively identifying undocumented migrants in public spaces. Despite international criticism, strong voter support has allowed the government to press ahead, with many Swedes saying safety must come before openness. Number 2. Germany. Germany entered 2026 having already crossed a historic threshold. Deportations now exceed 60,000 annually, the highest level since World War II. After welcoming more than 2 million refugees since 2015, Germany faces housing shortages, rising crime, and enormous financial strain, with asylum costs exceeding $50 billion per year. Fast-track deportation laws now allow removals within weeks, while reduced benefits are pushing tens of thousands to leave voluntarily. Police raids on shelters, transit hubs, and public spaces have become routine, and foreign criminals are being prioritized for removal. Despite ongoing protests, public opinion strongly supports tougher enforcement as Germany moves deeper into 2026. Number 1. France. At the start of 2026, France has taken the hardest line on immigration anywhere in Europe. Deportations now exceed 100,000 per year, driven by a zero-tolerance policy targeting undocumented migrants, failed asylum seekers, and even legal residents deemed a threat to public order. Large migrant camps have been dismantled in cities like Paris, Marseille, and Calais, with families deported after years of residence. Emergency laws introduced after violent unrest have expanded police powers, while asylum applications from certain countries are now blocked entirely. Despite global criticism, public support remains strong, with most French citizens believing earlier immigration policies were too weak. France's position as 2026 begins is unmistakable. Enforcement comes first. Europe in January 2026 is not the Europe many people remember. Borders are tighter, deportations are faster, and governments are prioritizing control over openness. Supporters say these measures restore order and security. Critics warn of serious human consequences. The debate is far from over. What do you think? Is Europe finally regaining control, or has it gone too far? Share your opinion in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives, and thanks for watching.